Welcome to this lesson. In today's class, I'd like to share with you 3 beginner jazz standards which I think are really useful to check out if you are new to jazz guitar. So just to give you the list straight away in case you want to get the names and then get off and go and learn them. So the 3 jazz standards which I'm going to briefly talk about are Autumn Leaves, Blue Bossa and Minor Swing. Okay, so just say those again. Autumn Leaves, number 1. Blue Bossa, second one, and then the third one is Minor Swing. I think these are fantastic standards to start with if you are new to jazz. So why? So let's go for each of them and I'll go through why I think this. So the first jazz standard is Autumn Leaves, and Autumn Leaves is a great tune to play, and I'm just going to give you a few quick reasons why I think it's a good one to begin learning jazz with. So if you play this in the key of G major, then this tune really just goes between the 2 keys of G major and E minor. So if you have to strip it down to its fundamental thing, you're essentially going between those 2 keys. And when you're first starting with jazz, it can seem like so complicated when you think about these turnarounds and substitutions and all this kind of stuff that's going on, when effectively you can look at a song like this and think, oh, actually, you know what, it's just the same 2 chords, it's the first 2 chords of Stand By Me. So that's all that tune is effectively. Of course, you can make it more complex than that, as we jazz musicians do. So, but you know, you can effectively just begin playing this tune by really just thinking of only 1 or 2 key centers rather than getting bogged down with too many scales and modes. Now, the second reason why I think this is a good tune to begin learning is because you can learn the melody and you can learn the chords, and you can use fairly basic chords and a melody to create your own solo arrangement from day one. Okay, so if you've never played solo jazz guitar before, you could do something like this where you play the melody, and you can even do this at a time and it still sounds great. Okay, so you can play it at a time. As you get more proficient with it, you can maybe then start to add tempo. Alright, so that gives you a full arrangement that you have, which you can create. Okay, so that's the good thing about that as well. It's fairly easy to form a solo jazz guitar arrangement without knowing about how to harmonize notes or anything like that, because you can play most of the song as call and response. Okay, so that's why that's good. Then obviously, you know, as you get more and more proficient with it, you can add more things. But you don't have to do that. You know, initially, if you learn it as a simple arrangement, then build up, as you learn more techniques, you can come back and keep adding them to the tune to build it up and make it more and more advanced as you go along, rather than starting at the deep end, which is, you know, maybe with like a complex show pass arrangement and not knowing what to do with it, you know, or maybe getting 2 bars in and understand nothing that's going on. Okay, so that's the first standard and 2 reasons why I think that's a good one to start with. The second one is a tune called Blue Bossa by Kenny Durham, and that's a great tune as well. Man, I always recommend to go out and check the original recording, the Joe Henderson recording of this one, a beautiful jazz standard before it was butchered by us amateur jazz musicians. So that is great. If you go back and listen to that, then that's a beautiful recording of this song. Why is this one a good tune to do? Well, you know, the very start of the progression, 4 chord. So that's a very bluesy progression. So essentially, I mean, yeah, you can make it very jazzy. Or you can also play very bluesy over the first 4 chords as well. So especially with that feel, that kind of bossa nova feel, you don't feel like you've got to play like swung eighth notes or anything like that. You can kind of integrate some of, I'm guessing that, you know, a lot of people that get into jazz are kind of from a blues background, so you can kind of use some of what you already know to but you just have to play it in a more jazzy way. You know, if you're playing blues, you typically want to play it in a more Kenny Burrell or Grant Green style way, probably, rather than Jimi Hendrix, to sound stylistically coherent over this. Okay, so that's one tune there. The second reason why this one is a good one to start with is because it's only a 16 bar form. So the entire chord sequence only lasts for 16 bars. So it's super easy to memorize. In fact, it only has 2 key centers, and the key centers are C minor 7 and D flat major. So, and of course, D flat major is only a semitone above C minor as well. So in actual fact, you know, you've only got 16 bars and 2 key centers to worry about when it comes to improvisation. So you can really get away with just using 2 scales for the entire thing. Really, you could use a C harmonic minor scale for the parts in C minor, especially the 2 5s. When you've got a 2 5 1, in C minor, you want to try and go for that. Then when it's in, if I can play it right, when it's in D flat, you want to try and use D flat major scale type ideas. Okay, so that's the second tune, and that's 2 reasons why I think that's good to learn blue bossa. The last tune is Django Reinhardt's Minor Swing, which is another great tune to start with. Why is this one good to learn if you're new? Well, if you're a guitar player, then you're learning a tune by a guitarist, which is cool. Many of us get into jazz through the jazz guitarists like Django, Wes, Joe Pass, Kenny Burrell, etc. So you're learning a tune by a jazz guitarist, but really, I guess it's because this one is in essentially one key all the way through. I mean, there's lots you can do with this song, but it's effectively in A minor throughout the entire progression. And of course, you can make it as complex or as advanced as what you want, but you can get away with playing in A minor for the entire tune, and that's going to be fine. So that's cool as well. And it's a very short sequence, which is super easy to memorize. And if you're memorizing this on a very basic level, then you can just think of A minor, 4 chord, 5, 1, 4 chord, 1 chord, 5 chord, back to 1 chord. Super easy, right? And one that you can have loads of fun with because it's in A minor as well. That's very much a guitar friendly key. All right, so those are the 3 beginner jazz standards which I recommend that you check out if you are new to jazz guitar. And of course, if you really want a comprehensive and complete guide about how to get started with jazz guitar, then I recommend that you check out my free beginner jazz guitar guide, which is listed and linked to in the description below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you another time.